What is up, everyone? GoodMicWork Commentaries back at you with episode 471. I am your host, Greg Morgan, up here as scheduled to give you your Raw and SmackDown reviews for this week, the December 4th and 5th, 2017 edition. I'll talk all about the major angles taking place on both of those shows, all of the happenings, and we'll also preview the next time WWE will be on pay-per-view, which is a SmackDown brand show, Clash of Champions, coming up on the WWE Network in just a couple of weeks. There's some other wrestling news to discuss as well. I will touch on a lot of that throughout my Raw and SmackDown reviews, and I will also mention the very sad and depressing release of WWE's longtime music producer, Jim Johnston, which was really sad to hear. So, much like last week, this week of TV was kind of lackluster, so this isn't going to be a terribly long commentary. I know every time I promise a short commentary, I find myself talking forever anyway, but I would like to keep this episode under 45 minutes long if I can, because even though we have a fair amount to talk about, we don't really have a ton of stuff to talk about. So I think this week was a little bit better than last week. Raw has been getting pretty good reviews from all of you. The reaction from most of you seems to be mostly positive for Raw, and for SmackDown, it seems to be mostly negative. So Raw seemed to win this week, hands down. Much better show on Monday Night Raw, and I'll discuss most of it here. So before I get into these Raw and SmackDown reviews, please indulge me for a moment. I don't do this very often, but the loyal listeners who have been listening to me forever know that every few commentaries I like to welcome all of the new listeners that may have subscribed recently or somebody that might be watching for the first time. If for any reason you have not clicked that red subscribe button, please do. Approaching 16,000 subs for the YouTube channel. That's pretty good. I had hoped to have 20,000 by the time the year ended, but I'm not going to get there. But I'll probably reach 16,000. So if you have not yet subbed, please do. Also, if you don't mind, click that like button. I would really appreciate it. Likes and views have been just a little bit down on my regular podcast episodes lately. My live streams are off the hook, but my regular shows, haven't been getting as many views as normal. Last week's episode 470, I think has like 3,000 views. That's pretty low. So if you guys could help me out by sharing it, tell your friends, give it a like, I would very much appreciate it. It's usually, this is historically a downtime of the year anyway. December never really offers much to us as wrestling fans, so I understand that the overall fan interest might be down a little bit, so the views don't bother me too much, but I would still like to keep the likes up if we can. Speaking of Monday Night Raw, I was up here on Monday night to do a live review and a live chat Q&A type of show. I've been doing that recently, and that's probably going to become the norm. I think any Monday night that I happen to be off, and there are a lot of them, I'm off most Mondays, not all of them, but I'm off a good portion of Mondays. So I think moving forward, whenever I'm off and I don't have any plans, I'm going to come up and give you guys a live Raw review, which is just kind of a casual look at the show. I save all of my detailed stuff for my podcasts, but it's fun to come up every Monday night and chit-chat with all of you, answer some questions, interact with you guys. The live streams so far, I think, have been a huge success. I've done a total of 6 of them already, and the reviews are fantastic. You guys seem to enjoy them. I enjoy doing them. It's a great way for me to add content to my channel, because I've always wanted to figure out a way to give you guys more stuff. These regular podcast episodes that I do weekly, they're time consuming. They take a while. I'm only up here once a week. It takes me forever to edit them, but with the live streams, I can just kind of roll with it and just shoot the shit with all of you guys very casually, and it's a lot of fun, and it's translated into a lot of new listeners and a lot of new subscribers. So between the live streams and me being featured on TVTrax, I'm seeing a lot of new audience members come into the channel. So I want to welcome all of you, and I hope you stick around. Please visit my website as well, GoodMicWorkCommentaries.com. You can watch this YouTube video right over there, or you can even download a podcast version of this episode. If you like to listen to me in podcast form, I'm also available on iTunes or Stitcher Radio. And as it relates to the live streams, incidentally, because I have had questions about this, the live streams I have decided are going to be exclusive to YouTube. So just keep that in mind. And also, finally, please follow me on social media, at GoodMicWork on Twitter, approaching 4,000 Twitter followers now. So if you guys have not followed me yet, please do. Also, give my Facebook page a like. It seems like it's taking me forever, and I mean forever, to reach 2,000 likes on that Facebook page, but we're getting there. So please visit my Facebook page as well. The links to all of this stuff is in the description below. And I think that is about it for all the plugging. So again, I just want to welcome all of the new listeners and welcome back everybody that's been with me for an extended period of time. Also, if you don't mind, go over to WrestlingRadioAwards.com and vote for GoodMicWork Commentaries for Show of the Year. I'll put a link to that site down in the description below. There's all sorts of categories, interview of the year and wrestler of the year and all this stuff. All I'm looking for is show of the year. I would very much appreciate it if you went down there and typed in Good Mic Work Commentaries and submitted your vote for this show. I in no way, shape, or form expect to win this, but I think it would be cool just to see where I stand. I'm sure Salamonster will take home the award this year as usual, so I'm not looking to win this thing or anything like that. I'm just looking to see how many votes I can get, and if they do release the results, and the polling results, how many votes I actually get. I'm assuming voting is still open for that. If you go to the website, I really don't know when it shuts off. I don't know much about it at all. But a lot of you have already gone over there and voted, and I very, very much appreciate that. Now, all of the bullshit is done. How happy are you guys? Crack open the champagne. Time to celebrate. Good Mic Work is done plugging his shit. Let's jump into Raw first, shall we? Like I said, I talked a lot about Raw on Monday night. If you want to hear more thoughts on Monday Night Raw, click the link in the top right-hand corner when you're done listening to this, and you can watch my live Raw review from Monday night. We talked for a long time and discussed all sorts of shit. So I'm going to kind of give you maybe a Cliff's Notes version of what took place on Raw, because some of it was just kind of your normal, average, everyday Raw stuff, but some of it wasn't. And we got a lot of wrestling on this show, a lot of good, long wrestling matches, and that was a very big positive for me. It was a very big plus. Why don't we, instead of going in order on Raw, I'm going to kind of go in order of importance. And I know one of the first things you guys want to hear me talk about is Woken Matt Hardy. Holy shit, this was amazing. I talked about this on Monday night. Right now, I'm super optimistic for this angle. WWE is finally going to use a version of the Broken Hardy character. Apparently, he's not going to be broken. We speculated last week that it's probably going to be Woken, and sure enough, he is going to be Woken Matt Hardy. We had to go a while. I think this wasn't until like the second hour until finally Bray Wyatt appears on the Titantron to cut one of his Bray Wyatt promos. And just a few seconds into it, the screen cuts to Matt Hardy wearing his broken outfit and this big, giant, hilarious fucking grin on his face. And he starts saying all of the Broken Hardy stuff, starts talking like him, saying the weirdest and craziest stuff, and all of the wonderful Matt Hardy brilliance that we remember from TNA is finally showing its face on Monday Night Raw. The crowd was laughing their ass off. I think LA was the perfect city to debut this new character because they immediately got it. They popped for it. Last week I was a little bit worried because when Matt Hardy sat in the corner and did the delete thing, it didn't get that big of a reaction. Think about how big that reaction would have been when he first came in. If they would have never had to go through this nonsense and he was able to be broken right off the bat, that would have been huge. So I'm really hoping that it's not too little too late here. And that was my big concern last week. And something that I mentioned in last week's episode is that I just hope that the fans haven't forgotten how fucking awesome that stuff was. And he's still over. And right now, I think the way the fans reacted to him, I've got high hopes for it. Hopefully, WWE will not fuck it up. That is a big hopefully. That is a big if, because there's a very good chance that they could completely fuck this up and it won't be anywhere near as brilliant as it was in TNA. Let's hope for the best here. But so far, 1 week in a very short segment between Wyatt and Hardy, with him coming up on the screen and interrupting and him doing the facial expressions and the mannerisms and all of the language and the verbiage and everything, I thought was great. And as long as they keep it up and it doesn't get too stupid, and as long as they get Matt's input, I did read some story that Matt might have some creative influence over this character. Vince McMahon may even be a fan of this in one story that I read. So if they allow Matt Hardy some creative freedom here, allow him to kind of, take the lead. He can have some help with the writers and everything. That's fine. But just let Matt Hardy kind of take the reins here because he knows what this character is about. He's the one that, spent so much time. He believes in this character. I mean, this is Matt Hardy's one chance to really make his name in the wrestling business. He's already a big name. He's a Hall of Famer, one half of arguably the greatest tag team of all time, but really, he's been in the shadow of Jeff. Jeff has always been the bigger Hardy brother. He's always been the bigger star. He's always, won all the world titles and gotten all of the opportunities, where Matt Hardy never really, he wasn't like the Marty Jannetty, but he was Christian, Christian is great too, but Edge was just better. So I think this is Matt Hardy's chance to really, especially at this stage of his career, to finish off his career with one of the most memorable and one of the most bizarre and unique characters that we have ever seen in wrestling history. So I'm really happy that things have been worked out a little bit with TNA. There's still some issue there with the broken universe and the broken name and all of that crap, but at least we're going to get a version of that broken character here in WWE. I can live with him being called Woken. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Woken is better than nothing, in my opinion, and I'm really excited to see where they go from here. Clearly, he's going to be working with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt is the first guy that came to all of our minds when Matt Hardy came into the WWE as he should feud with Bray Wyatt. They were each other's counterparts because when TNA did the final deletion and all of that crazy shit, then WWE countered with the big compound brawl with the New Day and the Wyatt family and then the House of Horrors match with Orton and Bray. So WWE tried to do things like that, but it was never as good as what Matt Hardy did. So naturally, putting these two together, seems a perfect fit. Unfortunately, Bray Wyatt is kind of a joke. Him and Bray Wyatt, I think, can make magic provided that the WWE puts some time into this. I just don't want to see a couple of matches where Matt Hardy beats Bray Wyatt. They need to get nuts here. They need to go off-site, maybe go back to the Hardy compound, maybe go to the Wyatt compound. We need to see Senor Benjamin. We need to see dilapidated boats. We need to see all this crazy shit in order to truly make the fans happy. So one can only assume that whatever they wind up doing here with Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, it's going to lead to some sort of a production, an off-site production like they did in WWE previously with Bray Wyatt and in TNA previously with Matt Hardy. So I, for one, am optimistic, and so far, so good, as far as you ask me. But I'm not going to get too excited yet because I know as easily as WWE can make everything great, they can also just that easily fuck everything up. There were really only two major angles to take place on Raw. The Matt Hardy stuff was one, and the other one was everything that went on with Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns, Jason Jordan, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Cesaro, and Sheamus. The first hour of the show was all Angle, Jordan, Roman, and Joe. Kurt Angle came out to open the show, and he starts hyping the tag team title match for later on, and he is about to announce an Intercontinental title match for that night for Roman Reigns. When his dumbass son comes out there and interrupts, Jason Jordan walks his whiny, shitty promo ass out to the ring, wants a match with Roman Reigns. The crowd eats him alive. Before he can even say a word, the crowd is shitting all over him. And I'm like, great, this is exactly what I want to see. This is probably the only babyface on the roster that's hated more than Roman Reigns. Might even be the only guy that can get Roman Reigns cheered because he is fucking pathetic. And I know the WWE knows this. I think now they're purposely making him whiny. They're purposely making him lame. He can't cut a promo for shit. He is the worst actor I've ever seen in my life. And I think Jason Jordan should go back to his old gimmick as Maven because that was a hell of a lot more over than his current gimmick is now. But I think that they are definitely going to have plans to turn this guy heel. With WWE making this guy so puke-inducing, just seeing his face, hearing his voice is annoying as hell. He's just a whiny little fucking bitch. And he is begging Kurt Angle to give him an Intercontinental title shot with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns then comes out, insults him a little bit. I mean, how crazy is that? When do you ever see Roman Reigns being the best promo cutter in the ring? That's pretty fucking rare. So he's out there kind of talking shit to Jason Jordan, throws some funny insults at him, and then Samoa Joe comes out as well. He comes to the ramp. He also wants an Intercontinental title match. We saw that feud kick off last week when he choked out Roman Reigns on the ramp, I think. And then finally, Kurt Angle is trying to figure out what to do. Jason Jordan sabotages Roman Reigns, hits him with a sneak attack, nails him with a German suplex. And then Roman gets so pissed at that he gets on the mic and says, Samoa Joe, you're going to have to wait for your shot. Kurt Angle, I want your son tonight. I want Jason Jordan right now for the Intercontinental title. Make the match. And we go to commercial, we come back, and Kurt makes it. So we've got an Intercontinental title match to kick off Raw, Roman Reigns versus Jason Jordan in a pretty long and competitive match. That's what I liked about this week's Raw, is that they gave guys time to work. I might shit on Jason Jordan about what a pathetic promo cutter he is, but he is still pretty damn good in the ring, pretty fucking strong and pretty menacing. That's why I think this guy in a heel role would be so much better. Change his outfit up, give his theme music a little bit more of an edge, make it a little bit more badass, have him grow some facial hair. He's just so big and bad, and the way he can toss guys around, I'm still completely amazed at that double Northern Lights suplex that he does, Eddie Guerrero style. That's one of the most amazing feats of strength I've ever seen. If I tried to do that move on a pillow, I would fall over sideways, and this guy's doing it on 250-pound wrestlers. Pretty fucking amazing. So Jason Jordan, as bad as he is on the mic, and as bad as he is at acting, he is still really promising in the ring. And I think, having him turn on Kurt Angle in the future is inevitable. We're going to have to see that. But until we do, Jason Jordan is the white meatiest babyface we've ever seen. He makes John Cena look like Marilyn Manson. And it's just way too much good guy for my taste. But he still puts up a really good fight against Roman Reigns. This match spans several commercial breaks, and Roman Reigns finally winds up winning with a Superman punch in the end, after Jason Jordan was kicking out of all sorts of shit. And I think it was about 10 till the second hour when this match finally ended. So the first 50 minutes of Raw was just the opening segment and this long match between Jason Jordan and Roman Reigns. And then it gets a little bit weird at the end after Roman beats him. Samoa Joe gets on the mic and says, "Wow, Roman, Jordan really took you to the limit. I'm going to come down there and finish what he couldn't do. And I'm going to choke you out." He comes right down to the ring. Roman is spent, just having a grueling match with Jason Jordan, and Samoa Joe locks in the coquina clutch on Roman pretty quickly when he gets in the ring, and Jason Jordan then saves Roman Reigns, runs off Samoa Joe, and as thank you, Roman Reigns decides to nail Jason Jordan with a Superman punch. The whole thing was kind of weird, but I still think, in the future, we're going to see Jason Jordan turn heel. He was almost even more annoying a little bit later on backstage. You had Kurt Angle on the phone talking to Stephanie, which was hilarious. How funny was it that we didn't see Stephanie and we didn't hear Stephanie, but she was still somehow annoying as fuck? Kurt Angle's like, yes, ma'am, okay. So this fake phone call that's going on is still annoying. I still find Stephanie McMahon annoying, even when she's not even on the show. That's how bad she is. But luckily, we have not seen her on TV in a couple of weeks now. So she just had the conversation with Kurt Angle on the phone. That was it. Jason Jordan then bursts into Kurt Angle's office, starts demanding a match with Samoa Joe. And Kurt yells at him saying, "You need to chill out and stop coming in here and demanding things. It's already bad enough that I'm giving you title matches and opportunities. Everybody thinks I'm playing favorites or whatever." And then Samoa Joe runs in the room and attacks Jason Jordan right in front of Kurt Angle. So I don't know when we're going to get this match between Jason and Joe, but I would assume it's probably going to take place next week. So now we'll fast forward to the main event, because that all ties into Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe as well. Now, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, of course, were getting a Raw tag team title shot. They were invoking their rematch with Cesaro and Sheamus, and this match was in the main event, and I had the Shield pegged to win the tag team titles. I thought WWE would want to have all of the Shield members holding gold. I still think we're going to see that. We just didn't see it this week. But I was really convinced that Seth and Dean were actually going to win this match. And thank God that Burn It Down has returned. Here we thought we had one of the worst tragedies to ever take place in wrestling. We had to say our goodbyes and had to mourn the loss of the Burn It Down segment of Seth Rollins' theme song. But I guess maybe last week somebody just pushed the wrong button. So crisis averted. But what I liked about the main event is they kind of threw a couple of swerves at you. I thought that Seth and Dean were going to win the titles, but what wound up happening is Sheamus and Cesaro got themselves intentionally disqualified on purpose. And I was like, oh, fuck, that's what's going to happen. Well, I guess it's not a big deal, because we'll probably get a rematch. Seth and Dean can still win the belts in the future. And then Kurt Angle's music hits and he comes out there and I'm like, oh shit, he's going to restart the match. He does. And he makes it a no disqualification match, because he's not going to let the Bar escape with the belts again in some sort of a cheap, shitty way. So he's making the whole thing no DQ. And I was kind of thinking, I'm like, okay, now Seth and Dean are going to win. But they still didn't win, because everybody got involved. Samoa Joe showed up after the restart and starts getting involved. Roman Reigns then shows up to run off Samoa Joe. All of the confusion allows Sheamus to hit a bro kick on Dean Ambrose and get the pin, and the Bar retains the tag team titles. And they escape through the crowd with Samoa Joe. So they get away. Cesaro and Sheamus are still champions. The Shield is left in the ring by themselves, pissed off as hell. And I thought overall it was a really good main event, really good ending to Raw. I was fine with it. I thought this show gave us a lot of good wrestling, like I said, especially with the opening match and the middle of the card with the Cruiserweight match, and now the main event I thought was very good, and they threw a lot of twists and turns at you along the way before we got to the finish. And I still think that we will eventually see the Shield all be champions at once. Maybe this is something WWE is holding off. I keep mentioning the big Christmas Day show coming up in a couple of weeks. They should have at least a title change on that show, you would think. I speculated a lot on Roman Reigns' Intercontinental title run in last week's episode and also in my live review on Monday. It looks like Samoa Joe is going to be his next big challenger, and I am now in full-on WrestleMania mode because now it's December. Now we have to start looking ahead to WrestleMania and what WWE wants to do. If the plan is still to go with Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, I think Roman Reigns needs to string up a whole bunch of successful Intercontinental title defenses before he gets to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I don't think he should really lose the Intercontinental title right now to Samoa Joe. I've got no problem with Samoa Joe being the Intercontinental champion, so don't shit your pants. It's not that I don't want Joe to be champion. It's not that I don't want Joe to beat Roman Reigns or anything like that, but if WWE's putting him in the ring with Brock at Mania, aside from winning the Royal Rumble, you have to have a storyline reason for him to get that title shot, and we don't want him winning the Royal Rumble again in Philadelphia. So I think a SmackDown guy needs to win the Rumble, and not to get too sidetracked here, but I mentioned this in my live show on Monday, I think a really good candidate to win the Royal Rumble would be Shinsuke Nakamura. You know, I mentioned in previous commentaries that Roman Reigns and John Cena being the final two could be very likely. Roman Reigns owns a victory over John Cena. Maybe this could be some payback. The final two guys in the ring, John Cena tosses Roman Reigns over the top rope. The crowd goes ape shit for that, and they actually cheer it. And then John Cena goes on to WrestleMania, maybe against Jinder Mahal, if he wins the belt back, to win the WWE title and break Ric Flair's record. But that would suck. You know why? Because Roman Reigns apparently is also going to be getting a title shot against Brock Lesnar, and you know that Roman Reigns is going to beat him. So that would be some pretty devastating shit if Roman Reigns and John Cena both walked out of WrestleMania as world champions. So I had kind of pitched a different idea in my live review on Monday on the SmackDown side of things. You know, maybe AJ can retain against Jinder. I know I've said, and I'll talk about this here in a minute, I know I've said I'm kind of nervous that Jinder Mahal is going to win back the belt at Clash of Champions, but maybe not. Maybe AJ is actually going to retain. Maybe AJ is actually going to go into WrestleMania as WWE champion. If that's the case, they should give us that big match between Shinsuke and AJ Styles for the WWE title. And having Shinsuke win the Royal Rumble, first of all, the Philly crowd would pop like crazy. What a way to make up for the shitty Royal Rumble a couple of years ago when Roman Reigns won and the crowd damn near rioted. What a way for WWE to make that right by having Shinsuke win it next year in 2018 and go on to challenge AJ Styles for the WWE title. Shinsuke came up short in all of his previous title matches. This could be a nice full circle moment for him, winning the belt against a great opponent, a guy he has a ton of respect for. The match could be fucking amazing, could be off the hook, could be a show stealer. To me, that would be so much better than John Cena versus Jinder Mahal. So I was pitching the idea of doing that, having Shinsuke win the Rumble, going on to face AJ Styles, which means Brock Lesnar is going to need a challenger for the world title. So Roman Reigns can successfully defend his Intercontinental title night after night, show after show, and finally cuts a promo one week and says, hey, big man, I'm the champion of Raw. I'm the guy with the belt defending it every week on TV. You're sitting on your ass. So I think this belt needs an upgrade, and I want the one that's around your waist. And that's kind of how they can go into Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. Another option is, because we've all been predicting and we've all been smelling this Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar match for over a year at WrestleMania 34, what if they did it early and did it at the Royal Rumble instead? I'd be perfectly fine with that too. Now, I don't know where that would go in the future. I don't know if it would be a Roman and Brock rematch at Mania or if they would just get the Roman Brock match out of the way at the Royal Rumble and then both guys can have different opponents come WrestleMania time. That's also an option. But, you know, all I care about is we avoid Roman and Cena both involved in title matches. I think the crowd is, the fans have really lightened up on John Cena in recent years. They're not quite as psychotic as they used to be, but I still don't think they're ready to see John Cena and Roman Reigns win world titles at WrestleMania. That's just not something that any of us would like to see, including myself. So if they can change up one of those matches, make one match a little bit less predictable, because Roman and Brock and Cena and Jinder, those are two incredibly predictable title matches, because you know Roman is going to have to win and you know Cena is going to have to win. So if they change shit up, give us Roman Brock at the Rumble, or if they do it at Mania, counter that by having AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the WWE title. And then John Cena can still break the record. He can still win his 17th title. They can do that whenever they want. I don't care. They can do it before WrestleMania. They can do it after WrestleMania. They could do it at SummerSlam. Because when you look at all of John Cena's accomplishments, there is one big belt that's eluded him, and that is, well, it's the Intercontinental title, actually, now that I think about it. John Cena has not won the IC belt before, right? But the other one is the Universal title. That's a new belt. So what if John Cena breaks Ric Flair's record by winning the Universal title? He's already won the WWE title a bunch of times. He's won the World Heavyweight title a bunch of times. He hasn't been Universal Champion yet. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if John Cena adds that to his resume. He's a free agent. He can be on Raw and SmackDown, and he can show up on either one of those shows whenever he wants, assumingly. So if they hold off John Cena's 17th title win until maybe SummerSlam, or maybe a pay-per-view in between WrestleMania and SummerSlam, he can actually challenge Roman Reigns for the Universal title. We also have the big Money in the Bank pay-per-view coming up in June. Maybe Cena can win that, cash it in against Roman or something like that. But I think since Roman Reigns did defeat Cena, earlier on this year, that in the future, John Cena might get that victory back, and it might be for a title belt. Same thing happened with Batista, remember? Batista beat John Cena at SummerSlam, and then that next year at WrestleMania, Cena beat him with a belt on the line. So, I've been thinking about all of that when I've been thinking about Roman Reigns' title reign, his Intercontinental title run here, how long he's going to hold it, and how many people he's going to defeat on his road to WrestleMania, and if he will go into WrestleMania as champion. I don't think he needs to. They can figure out a way to take it off of him. I would love for Samoa Joe. I think Samoa Joe would be a great guy to hold the IC belt right now, but I don't want to see him face Roman Reigns, next week on Raw and win the belt. That seems kind of pointless. Roman Reigns just won it. Plus, he's recently reunited with the Shield, and I think the Shield needs to go on a run and dominate for just a little while. If they do want to take the belt off of Roman Reigns, the IC belt off of him prior to WrestleMania, maybe Dean Ambrose can turn heel. Maybe that's where you do the heel turn and you do the Shield split again. And this time it costs Roman Reigns a title belt, and now they're out of that deal, and he can still go on to Mania to face Brock or whatever the fuck. So these are just ideas. Would love to hear what you guys think. I think most of you will agree with my Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles idea. I just think that would be wonderful. It would give AJ a significant run, holding the title for a few months, dropping it to Shinsuke, and an amazing match. I think the crowd would just be all over that. That would be a WrestleMania moment for all the quote-unquote smart wrestling fans, and it would be so much better than John Cena versus Jinder Mahal in a USA versus India feud or whatever the fuck. The match that Vince McMahon probably wants to have happen. So I guess we'll find out soon. Clash of Champions is coming up in the next couple of weeks. So after we find out if AJ retains or not, we might be able to start piecing together what's going to take place at the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. And also the night after Clash of Champions on Raw, that's when Brock Lesnar is scheduled. So he'll come out there with Paul Heyman. They'll cut a promo. And they will probably go on to be challenged by somebody for the Royal Rumble. We will probably find out who Brock Lesnar's opponent is going to be on December 18th. If we don't, we're going to get some sort of a match to determine it. Maybe Kurt Angle comes out and says, we need a number one contender for the Royal Rumble, so we're going to put this guy versus this guy, or we're going to make a four-way, or we're going to make a three-way, or we're going to make two four-ways, and the winners of the four-way face off, or whatever the fuck they do. We'll start getting the ball rolling on that on December 18th. So I would love to hear all of your ideas and your opinions for WrestleMania, for Roman Reigns, for the Royal Rumble, for the Intercontinental title, for the Universal title, for the World title, for John Cena, for AJ Styles, for Jinder Mahal, for Shinsuke Nakamura. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As far as what else we saw on Monday Night Raw, Paige had her first match in over a year. On Raw, she took on Sasha Banks. Sasha had backup with her in the form of Bayley and Mickie James. Paige, of course, had her Absolution faction at ringside with her, and Paige wound up winning. After all the girls get involved on the outside of the ring, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose beat the piss out of Mickie James and Bayley on the outside of the ring, leaving them laying there. And Sasha was distracted by that, which allowed Paige to nail her right in the face with a vicious kick, and then hit her with the Rampage for the 1-2-3. And then after the match, the Absolution beat down Sasha Banks some more. Later on, Asuka had a match with Alicia Fox. Asuka won in about 1.2 seconds. After the match, Absolution comes out again, much like last week, surrounds the ring, but allows Asuka to leave, leaving Alicia Fox in the ring all by herself. Paige cuts a promo on her, says that Alicia always stuck by her, always supported her, and that she's Alicia's best friend, and then the two of them beat the shit out of Alicia Fox. So that was kind of a funny segment. So Absolution continues to roll there. We also had a backstage confrontation with Elias and Kurt Angle. Elias is pissed off that Kurt gave his son an Intercontinental title match earlier on in the show, and he says that he wants another IC shot in the future, and he also wants some competition. So Kurt Angle sends him out there to face Braun Strowman. And just as Braun Strowman is about to kill poor Elias in the ring with the stairs and a chair, Kane's music hits. He comes up on the Titantron and says that he's still the only true monster, blah, 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 and announces a match next week between Kane and Braun Strowman. So I've talked until I've been blue in the face about my ideas for Kane to finally retire and possibly working with Strowman last. That's probably not going to happen here. Next week, we're going to get some sort of a match between Braun Strowman and Kane, and we will see if that's the actual blow-off or if this leads to something else in the future. I would also like to know what you guys have to say about that and what you think might happen. We also had a one-on-one match between Finn Balor and Bo Dallas. Not much to discuss there other than the fact that Bo Dallas actually gave Finn a little bit of a run for his money. Finn Balor did, of course, wind up beating Bo with the coup de grace, and The Miz is still off of TV right now. Apparently, he's off filming one of the Marine movies with Becky Lynch, so he'll be back in a couple of weeks, but until then, his Miztourage is trying to go out there every week and impress him. And the final thing I'll mention on Raw is the fabulous, fantastic, fatal four-way cruiserweight match. Man, was this thing good. I loved it. I thought that it was really awesome that the WWE gave these cruiserweights time. And again, this was another match that spanned several commercial breaks. There was amazing spots in this match. Whatever the hell I saw between Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali when they were on the top rope and they did that big flip into the ring, that was incredible. There was just a lot of good stuff in this match, and it was competitive, and I literally enjoyed every single second of it. And Drew Gulak wound up winning. I was happy to see that too. Now he's going to be taking on Rich Swann, I believe, next week. The winner of that will be the new #1 contender for Enzo's title. And considering that Swann has already kind of had a run with it, and Drew Gulak has kind of got this new character, this new persona, he's great on the mic. I think the guy's incredibly entertaining. I would love it if he winds up getting the Cruiserweight title match against Enzo, although he is part of Enzo's Zo train. So right now he's an ally of Enzo, but I think his gimmick is so funny. He's almost like, I don't know, maybe like a modern-day Bob Backlund or something, maybe a cross between Bob Backlund and Corporate Kane. And he does PowerPoint presentations, and the guy's just fucking hilarious on the mic. So we'll have to see where that goes. I'm expecting him to win. I think he should wind up beating Rich Swann, because I think that would be a little bit more fun of a story, having Enzo have to go up against Drew rather than go up against Rich Swann. I think it would be a lot more fun, and this is the most exciting 205 Live has been in a while. I mean, Enzo going over to that brand has breathed new life into it. You know, you're starting to see guys now develop some characters. It's not just a whole bunch of high-flying cruiserweights anymore. You're starting to see personalities. And speaking of Enzo, they're also doing a really strange angle. I don't know where it's going to lead, but backstage when Enzo, before the four-way match, Enzo is back there talking to his Zo train, and they all walk away, and then Nia Jax approaches Enzo and kind of looks at him like she's got the hots for him. She even says, "How you doing?" and all of that. And the crowd starts laughing their ass off. So they might be going for some sort of a comedy love angle here between Enzo and Nia Jax. So I don't know where they're going with it or where it's going to lead. But, you know, Nia Jax made an overture towards Enzo, and it looks like she might want to get a big juicy mouthful of the realest guy in the room's little package. So we'll have to wait and see where that all goes. Looking at my notes here, just clicking around, it doesn't look like we've got too much else to talk about as far as Monday Night Raw goes. That's pretty much it. Let's blow through SmackDown, because not too much went on this show as well. I was not home to see SmackDown, but I was asking you guys on Twitter to give me updates, and a lot of you were saying, oh, the show was garbage. So let's kind of just blow through it here. So the show opened up with a Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn promo, and they talked about, you know, their issue with the McMahon family or with Shane McMahon, and how when previous McMahon family members have had vendettas, they stop at nothing to destroy them. You know, they brought up Daniel Bryan, they brought up Bret Hart, Stone Cold Steve Austin, guys like that. Sami Zayn then goes on to give like a ringside tutorial of what the word ringside actually means, because last week he was banned from ringside but still attacked Randy Orton anyway, but he attacked him on the ramp. So, you know, he thinks that he should be free and clear or whatever, and Shane McMahon then comes out to the stage and announces that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will be taking on Randy Orton and a partner of his choosing at Clash of the Champions in a tag team match. And then he also goes on to announce that Randy Orton will be taking on Sami Zayn in the main event with Kevin Owens handcuffed to the ring rope. So he says, fine, if you guys insist on being at ringside, no problem. Kevin Owens is more than welcome to be there, but I'm going to handcuff his ass. So we fast forward now to the main event. Randy Orton did beat Sami Zayn, beat him with a roll-up in kind of a weird spot. Kevin Owens was actually able to get out of the handcuffs. He got his hands on a bolt cutter and cut his way out of there. But Orton was still able to score the victory on Sami Zayn. Owens attacks Randy Orton after the match. Him and Sami proceed to beat the hell out of Randy Orton when Shinsuke Nakamura comes out to make the save, and it looks like that is who is going to be Randy Orton's partner at the Clash of the Champions. Now, here's when it got interesting. As the show was going off the air, they cut backstage to Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon, and Shane is watching the monitor, and he says that he's going to make himself the guest referee at Clash of Champions in that tag team match. And furthermore, if Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn lose to Randy Orton and Shinsuke Nakamura, then they will both be fired, not only from SmackDown, but from all of WWE. And he walks away, and the camera zooms in on Daniel Bryan's face, and he did not have a very pleasant look on his face. So I've talked about this in my past couple of commentaries. They've been teasing this for a while. There's going to start to be dissension between Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon. Daniel Bryan has not liked some of the things that Shane McMahon has done. He's actually gone over his head a couple of times. When Shane McMahon said fire Owens and Zayn, Daniel Bryan said no, let's do this instead. He stood his ground. He has his opinions, and he's not just there to do whatever Shane McMahon says. So we've seen some teasing. Even though the two are still very friendly, we've never really seen a true argument between the two on TV, but you can tell Daniel Bryan is starting to get a little bit annoyed with all of the decisions that Shane McMahon is making, and I think it's pretty safe to say that we've got to see Daniel Bryan get involved at Clash of the Champions. Do you guys think he's going to turn heel? What do you think's going to happen there? Because really, if Randy Orton and Sami Zayn's careers are on the line in this match, there can only be one outcome. They've got to figure out a way to win. So the only way to really do that is to maybe have Daniel Bryan come out and interfere. Maybe he does something to cost Randy Orton and Shinsuke the match. Maybe he goes full-blown heel. He doesn't even have to turn heel. He could just disagree with what Shane McMahon is doing, and he's taking it upon himself to make sure that SmackDown does not lose two of their top stars. So I guess technically Daniel Bryan could stay a babyface in all of this, but he could also turn heel. But I think it's pretty safe to say that Daniel Bryan is eventually going to get fed up here, and he did not seem pleased with what Shane McMahon announced. So he's probably going to take it upon himself to make sure that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn do not lose their jobs. And once he does that, that's going to piss off Shane McMahon, and then they can go in a number of different directions from there. But right now, it's looking pretty obvious, especially with the reaction that Daniel Bryan gave Shane McMahon when Shane made those announcements. He didn't look happy. So I think some sort of a split between Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon in the future is totally inevitable at this point. That was pretty much your major angle on SmackDown. Aside from that, we also had a wonderful segment, a heartwarming segment that the New Day completely ruined. Those assholes. Rusev and Aiden English are in the ring, and they're talking about Rusev Day. We've got brand new Rusev Day merchandise now, by the way, so you can go over to WWE Shop and buy your Rusev Day shirt, your Happy Rusev Day shirt. I celebrate Rusev Day every day, and I think that we all should. And Aiden English is about to start singing the 12 Days of Rusev Day, and he only gets to day number 2, and the New Day comes out and interrupts him. And they went on to face Aiden English and Rusev in a match. Rusev and English won after Rusev kicked Kofi right in the back of the head and got the pin. So at least Rusev got a little bit of revenge on the New Day for ruining what was an absolutely beautiful moment with him and Aiden English. But I, for one, am thrilled for Rusev. Hopefully, WWE doesn't ignore the fans getting on board with this. I think Rusev is going to sell a shit ton of those t-shirts. So, the WWE better take notice. Rusev is over. We all fucking love him. We also saw Mojo Rawley cut a promo backstage explaining himself, explaining why he turned heel on Zack Ryder last week. Basically says that it's all Zack Ryder's fault, that he's been floundering lately. Zack Ryder holds him back. When Zack got hurt and had to go away, he won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal all by himself. He was on a roll. And then when Zack came back, they reformed the team, and Mojo got in a rut, and Zack was ruining his career or whatever the fuck. So that's why he attacked Zack Ryder, and the promo wasn't that great, but it got even worse at the very end. And he said something like, I'm going to do things my way or whatever the fuck, and anybody who doesn't like that can shove it. Oh my God. That just drives me so crazy. I cannot stand it when guys are cutting a promo, they're getting all riled up, and then they have to go to their punchline or some big, some big point in the promo, and then they say, anybody who doesn't like it can shove it. Jesus Christ. I mean, I know it's PG, but give me a break. It sounds so stupid. Mojo Rawley comes off as so lame if he wasn't lame enough already. I cannot see him being a major player in WWE. I'm sure this is going to be a little bit more of a push for him. He's about to be a heel, but he still seems like the same guy. He's still wearing the same shit. I mentioned last week that he should start being a cocky douchebag, Rob Gronkowski type of guy. He should come out there maybe wearing a suit, wearing jewelry and watches and sunglasses and chewing gum and bragging about how much money he has and all of the friends that he has. I kind of thought that would be the direction they would go with Mojo, but it looks like he's going to be essentially the same guy. Just an annoying, spazzy fucking guy that none of us want to see. I would like to see Mojo Rawley start calling his promos Projos. As soon as somebody tries to interview him, he can grab the mic out of their hand and say, I don't need your help to cut a Projo. I can do it myself. I just think it would be a nice little catchphrase for Mojo Rawley. But not too much to talk about there. I guess we'll probably get a match between him and Zack Ryder down the line. I'm not very invested in this feud. I don't care. I care much more about Zack Ryder than I do Mojo Rawley, to be honest. So I almost wish it was Zack that would have gone heel. Mojo, I've just never really been a big fan of, and I really don't care where this storyline goes whatsoever. We also had Daniel Bryan. I mentioned him a minute ago. He was also tortured by 6 women backstage. We had Carmella, we had Tamina, we had Lana, we had Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan all back there bitching at Daniel Bryan. Some of them are mad that Natalya is getting the title shot at Clash of Champions against Charlotte, but Daniel Bryan's like, hey, I'm not changing it. The match is set. It's already, signed, and you guys can't do anything to change it. But what I can do is make it a lumberjack match. So now he's added everybody to the outside of the ring, and that's now going to be a lumberjack match. Now, the members of the Riot Squad all got a chance to talk. Ruby Riott started things off. Liv Morgan said a few words, and Sarah Logan talked as well. She struggled a little bit. She sounded like she was mumbling. I don't even know what the hell she said. I guess it's that their Southern accent. Some of y'all hear me do the Southern accent on my Monday night live streams or sometimes my Q&As. So I know what a Southern person should sound like, right? But when I hear this Sarah Logan woman talk, sometimes I'm not sure. She just mumbles all her shit together. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on in Kentucky that would make somebody talk like that. Jesus Christ. Couldn't understand anything she said. I think the girl needs to take a swig of Mountain Dew, lubricate up her throat and all her talking muscles, and maybe things will come out a little bit better for her. But right now, she just mumbles. Those of you who are kind enough to join me on my live streams know all about Southern mic work, so I thought I would give you guys a little taste of that in this episode. But when the 3 ladies talked backstage, Sarah Logan was the one that I noticed struggling the most. Now, later on, they were all back at it again. When Charlotte had a one-on-one match with Tamina, she taps out Tamina. There was a scuffle with Tamina and Sarah Logan after the fact, and then all 3 girls talked on the mic again, and Sarah Logan was a little bit better on the outside of the ring this time, talking about her pawpaw or whatever the hell she was saying out there on the outside of the ring. So she was a little bit better, but I think all 3 girls could probably use some work, and that's the whole point of this. Give them some TV time, give them some mic time, they'll all get better. I'm not sure which. I'd like to hear your opinions on this, actually. Which faction do you like better? Do you like the Riot Squad or do you like Absolution? Or do you feel that they're on equal footing? I can't really decide which faction I like better. Right now, I kind of like them both, but there's some things about both of them that I don't like as well. So curious to hear all of your opinions on that. We also had some news regarding the U.S. title match at Clash of Champions. We had a backstage segment with Baron Corbin, Bobby Roode, and Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler showed up, interrupting Corbin and Roode, who were arguing with each other. He showed up wearing a camouflage hat, much like Shawn Michaels wears. Looked a lot like Shawn again. And apparently Roode and Corbin are not too thrilled that he was added to the U.S. title match, making it a triple threat. But he came in there and said, I was added to the match because I'm a 2-time world champion. I'm a 4-time Intercontinental champion. I'm a former U.S. champion. I've done it all. I deserve to be in this match and whatever. And then later on, Bobby Roode went on to defeat Baron Corbin in a one-on-one match via DQ when Dolph Ziggler interfered because he was on commentary during that match. Now, Harper and Rowan, the Bludgeon Brothers, also won a squash match against a couple of jobbers on SmackDown as well. Other than that, I don't see anything else really written down for SmackDown, so that's all we've got. So yeah, like I said, we've got Clash of Champions coming up here in a couple of weeks. We've got a lot of title belts on the line and a lot of big matches. And right now, I'm really hoping that AJ Styles retains the WWE title. You know what? I don't have anything written down on AJ and Jinder. Were they even on the show? Because I did not see this show live, so I skimmed through the replay real quick and watched some clips on YouTube, but didn't really pay close attention. So I might be missing, if they might have run a promo or a video package for AJ and Jinder. I don't even know what they did as it relates to those two on SmackDown, but I had mentioned right off the bat that it looked like the way AJ won that belt, in Manchester a few weeks ago, I kind of thought it was going to be a temporary thing. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's actually not a temporary thing. Maybe AJ is going to retain. I think that he should. I've completely changed my mind now, especially after me pitching that idea of AJ versus Shinsuke for the title at WrestleMania, with Shinsuke winning the Rumble or whatever. I think that would be much more fun than Jinder winning the belt back and then dropping it to the good old USA boy John Cena or whatever. So maybe Jinder's days as champion are over. Maybe he's never going to be champion again. I would be fine with that. I kind of thought that he would, because WWE put so much time and energy into turning this jobber into one of their main event stars, but I think the experiment overall has failed, and Jinder is still better off than where he was, and I just don't think he needs to hold the WWE title anymore. So I have completely changed my mind. I'm really hoping that AJ retains and Jinder's days on top are done, because that was a miserable time. I tried to support it because I understood that WWE is trying to do something different, and SmackDown gives a lot of guys titles who have never held titles before, but just what they were doing with Jinder, the shit they were writing for him, he's not over, he doesn't draw any heat at all, and he's just, I don't know, he's just not interesting to me. Great guy, I want nothing but the best for him. Every time he did an interview or a podcast, sounds like a super down-to-earth, laid-back guy who you want to see have success in WWE. But his run on top with the WWE title, when he's on the same brand as a caliber athlete like AJ Styles, I would much rather see AJ hold that belt than Jinder, and hopefully AJ Styles will retain and go on to WrestleMania to drop that belt to somebody I think would be the best option there. So that is pretty much it for Raw and SmackDown. Not much else to mention on either one of those shows. Before I get out of here, I do want to mention the Jim Johnston news. That was really sad. Now, I talked about this in my live show on Monday as well, but Jim Johnston was released from the WWE after 32 years. So sad to hear that. Things have changed now in the WWE, though. They have their own in-house band, the CFOs. They've been producing a lot of the more recent and modern WWE themes, especially a lot of the NXT ones and stuff. But Jim Johnston was such a legend. I mean, this is a guy that I wanted to see go into the Hall of Fame, not be released. So the WWE really went in the opposite direction there. When the Ultimate Warrior was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and he mentioned an award that should be dedicated to people behind the scenes, that WWE completely morphed into that stupid-ass Warrior award that they do. What the Ultimate Warrior was talking about was these type of people. And I think Jim Johnston should have been the Andre the Giant of that award. He should have been the very first guy to be inducted into the Hall of Fame under that category, because he had a big part in getting wrestlers over back in the day. He was responsible for some of the most iconic themes in WWE history ever. The Rock and Stone Cold and The Undertaker and guys like that. Without those theme songs, I dare say those wrestlers would not have been as over as they were. They probably still would have done very well for themselves, but their music was such a big part of that presentation of who they were as a character. And he just had some iconic themes that he came up with for a lot of these guys, was a big part of all of those old school WWE CDs that they would release, the Full Metals and the Volume 2 and the Volume 3s and all that shit. He's a big part of WWE's history. So it's a shame that he was let go. It's not that surprising. I mean, WWE is going in a different direction now musically and all of that, but you can't ignore what Jim Johnston contributed to WWE and what a big part of their success that he was. And I just wish that it would have ended a little bit better for him. From what we have read, this was not a mutual decision. This wasn't a situation where the WWE maybe wants to cut some costs, offering to keep Johnson on with the stipulation of a pay cut or something like that. It looks like they just flat out released him. So that sucks. It's very sad. It's very depressing. Not going to go too crazy and say WWE are a bunch of assholes for doing this. I mean, they're a company, they're a business. If this is a salary that they really don't need to be paying anymore, then yes, sometimes you have to cut your losses and release people. It just sucks, because Jim Johnston is a guy that I really never wanted to see get released. I was sad when Mark Eaton, the timekeeper that was there for like 40 years, got released not long ago. Howard Finkel is still around, thank God, but who knows how long it'll be before he's sent packing. So some of these long-time employees, it's always sad when you hear about them getting let go, but I wish Jim Johnston nothing but the best. Maybe even later tonight when I'm editing this podcast, I'll play some old school WWE themes just as a tribute to him. So very sorry to hear about that. Other than that, I was just about to sign off here, and I just did come across one other story reported by, looks like USA Today, about Ronda Rousey and WWE being very close to reaching a deal. Now, that's big news, but at the same time, that's not that surprising. It's been pretty obvious that Ronda Rousey is going to have something to do with WWE in the future. She's already participated in one WrestleMania. Her UFC career appears to be over. She was, sitting in the crowd during the Mae Young Classic and ran a little shitty backstage or outside segment with Charlotte and maybe Bailey or something like that when she was hanging out with some of her MMA girls and stuff. So Ronda Rousey has done some things with WWE, and I think we all expect her to eventually get in the ring, especially since she's probably not going to be working in the UFC anymore. So I would love to see Ronda get in there, maybe do something at WrestleMania. Might not be time for that. She might have to spend some time at the Performance Center, maybe even be in NXT first. I don't know how quickly WWE is going to want to thrust her into the main roster and into main storylines. They're going to want to strike while the iron's hot with Ronda because she still is a name. Everybody knows who she is, so she can't hang around in NXT for 2 or 3 years or anything like that. But, if they can get her ready and have her be a part of something at WrestleMania, I think that would be a lot of fun. Even a Ronda Rousey versus Stephanie McMahon match is possible. So we'll have to wait and see there. So that is it for me. I am out of here. I am very tired. I want to get this thing edited and uploaded to you. I will be back up here probably this coming Monday after Raw for a live review like I've been doing in recent weeks. So stay tuned to my Twitter account at GoodMicWork for all of the latest on that. In case I can't make it or whatever, I'll make sure that I announce that on the Twitter machine. So you guys take care, have an excellent weekend, and I will talk to you in just a few days. Until next time, peace.